So it needs to be hydrated, but it hates water. And if you use oil alone, it will get dry and break. And if you use water, it will get weak and break. So the short answer is yes. Yes to all of that. Basically, you don't want to leave your hair wet any longer than it needs to be. If you want a breakdown as the reasons why, keep watching the video. So quick breakdown about our hair. Hair is naturally hydrophobic, meaning repelling water, which means our hair does not want to be wet. And that is why we have a cuticle. That's the outermost layer of the hair. And the cuticle protects the inner layers, and that would be your medulla and your cortex. And within the medulla and the cortex, and just so you know, not everyone has a medulla, are your cell membrane complex. The cell membrane complex. And that's basically what keeps those layers intact. So it keeps the layers together and from falling apart. Whenever we get our hair wet, then our hair, the bonds in our hair starts to break down. And then once it dries, it forms back. However, if we leave our hair wet for longer than it needs to be, and it's going to be different for everybody, that those bonds basically break down and will cause your hair to become weaker. And that is why I recommend sitting under a hooded hair dryer or using a diffuser or both when drying your hair. So here's the thing with using oils and butters on our hair. All right, so when our hair gets wet or if there's moisture in the air, the cuticle will lift to absorb that moisture. So imagine on your wash day when you shampoo your hair to remove all of the oils and butters that you apply to your hair, and then that allows your cuticle to lift. And then you want to apply your conditioners and your leave-ins. And your leave-ins should incorporate those oils and butters in their formula. Those are going to help to seal the cuticle to lock that moisture into your hair. So yes, you definitely want to use oils and butters on your hair. However, when you use them in their raw form, meaning that they're not mixed with anything, they're not hydrolyzed. Hydrolyzed oils are when they've been broken down and they're a lot lighter than using, like, let's say Jamaican black castor oil or raw shea butter as examples on your hair. So those raw oils and butters will effectively coat the cuticle so that you can't lock in that moisture. However, when you go to wash your hair, if you're not using a shampoo that has a surfactant like sulfates or a clarifier, you're not going to remove all of that. And this is how you end up with product buildup. And if you're doing this every single week and you're not removing those oils and butters, and this can happen with any product with oils and butters in them or even silicones, because those will end up building up on your hair, and then it's going to make it harder, or even your cuticle is going to be so built up underneath all of that product, it's not going to lift to absorb moisture. And this is how your hair starts to become drier and then dehydrated, and it becomes brittle and breaks. Personally, I don't use raw oils and butters on my hair because I don't want to have to clarify my hair every single week, because clarifying weekly can dry your hair out. So instead, I'd rather use a leave-in, such as my moisturizing hair pudding, which incorporates those oils and butters in them. And because of that reason, the pudding is more water soluble, making it easier to remove from your hair when you shampoo it. So your shampoo isn't going to have to work harder than it needs to. And I always heat dry my hair every single time. It doesn't matter what the temperature is. And this is how I have been able to achieve long hair and retain length even at 49.